Hello everyone, this is Annie Dibbledocs. Today I'm going to give you a very short and sweet lesson on pronunciation. In my opinion, pronunciation can be one of the most difficult parts of learning English. Now that may be because we have so many different accents, and depending on where you're from, you might identify more with one, or it may be easier for you to say them in a certain accent. And it really depends. Now in my case, I have an American accent, so that's what I will be using. The rules that we're going to go over today may not apply if you were focusing on a different type of accent. But anyway, this is actually very simple to understand. We're going to go over two very easy rules, I promise. So it's all going to be about vowel sounds. Now, have you ever noticed how sometimes in practically the same word, the vowel sound is very different? That's because we have what we call the alphabet vowel sound and then what we call the relative vowel sound. So we're going to go over this very quickly. The alphabet vowel sound is basically the name that we give the letters when we're saying them when we're saying the alphabet. For example, the vowels are pronounced A. I have included the phonetic symbols over here. If that helps you, it's not important if you don't know these things, but in this case, I find that it's very useful. So the letter A is pronounced A, E, I, O, and U. Now U is the only one that seems a little bit tricky because we pronounce it like a Y-O-U, but this is actually the phonetic symbols of it. And then we have the relative vowel sound. Now it's called a relative vowel sound because it relates a little bit, but it's actually very different. Now if you speak Spanish, it's kind of like the way you would pronounce it if you were speaking Spanish. For example, the letter A in the relative vowel sound will be pronounced like an E. Now it's not exactly ea and it's not a, right? It's more like an E. Then we have the letter E, which is going to be very different and very similar to our Spanish. It's going to be E. The letter I will be I. Now it's not E like a long sound. It's a short I sound. If you look at my face when I say it, it's actually very relaxed. It's just like a little I, okay? Then we have an O, which is going to be completely different because it's going to be like when you go to the doctor and he says to open your mouth and go ah, okay? Then the letter U is going to be an okay? So the O and the U in the relative vowel sounds are actually quite similar. They're kind of like the same, just one is a little bit more open when you with your mouth and more like an ah, and the other one's more like an okay? But you'll see what I mean when we see the examples, okay? Now, we have two vowel rules that we're going to go over. The first one is the one vowel rule. Now, we're focusing on words that are just one syllable and that include one written vowel. Now, this is where we need to know what our relative vowel sounds are because we will be applying them. For example, with the letter A, we said that it was like an okay? So let's say the word can. We only have one vowel right here, and it's one syllable. So it's not pronounced can, it's pronounced can, okay? The letter E, which sounds like an for example, the word bed. The letter I in the word fin. It's not thin, and it's not fine. It's fin, okay? The letter O, which we said was going to be kind of like an aw in the word got. We don't go gat and we don't go got. We go got. And then the letter U, which we said was like an in the word cub. So in this case, it's actually like the schwa sound, which we'll get to in another lesson. Okay? So it's not cube and it's not cube, it's cub. Okay? So these are the relative vowel sounds applied in these words. Now this, as I said, was the one vowel rule. Now let's go over the two vowel rule. Now again, we're working with one syllable words, but in this case we're going to have two written vowels. For this one, we're going to need the alphabet vowel sound. And what we're going to do is, the first vowel of the word will be pronounced like the alphabet sound, which are the green ones that we went over. The second vowel is going to be silent. For example, the word cane. The first vowel is the letter A, and it's pronounced the way we say the letter. If I were to separate the letter and say A, that's exactly how it's going to sound here. A, cane, okay? So the letter E, which is my second vowel, is going to be silent. Now, if I were to not include this when writing it, I would have to pronounce it like this, can, okay? That is why our spelling is very important. Then we have an example with the letter E. We pronounce it E, and in the word bead, okay? Bead versus bed, okay? So here I have my two vowels. Now in this case, I'm showing you how it is with one vowel and then a consonant and then a vowel, or two vowels together. Then we have an example with the vowel I in the word fine. Then an example with the letter O in the word goat. Now I'm not going goat, I'm not going good, it's goat. I know here it sounds like the U, but that's just the sound of the O, right? O. Then we have the U in the word cube. So I'm not going like cube, I'm not going any different ways. Cube, okay? So if we look at the words side by side, you'll see the difference. So we have cane versus can, bead versus bed, fine versus fin, goat versus got, and cube versus cub. So really, that's all there is to it. Always remember that you have, if it's a one-syllable word, you have those two rules that are very easy to follow. Are there exceptions? Yes, of course there are exceptions. We always have exceptions, and that's what drives people crazy when they're learning English. Now, there is a way of breaking these rules. For example, the two-vowel rule. If I include another consonant, for example, the word write, I have W-R-I-T-E. If I were to make it the word written, I'm adding another consonant, therefore I am breaking the rule. But it also becomes a two-syllable word, okay? So if I put two consonants, it's going to become, my alphabet sound from the word write in written is going to turn into my relative one. Write, written. See the difference? Anyway, that's basically the rule and how you can break it as well. Okay, so I hope this was easy to understand, not too boring. If you have any questions, please post a comment below. Thank you very much. Bye.